Hi guys, I'm Clay Bauer with Top Speed Tennis, and today we're going to go over one of the best serves in tennis, which is your top spin slice. The reason I like the top spin slice so much is that it's one of the only serves out there that's absolutely unreturnable if you hit it correctly. So if I get that ball to really curve and kick off the court, there's no way that my opponent's going to be able to return that. In this video, I'm going to show you really how to just rip the cover off the ball, getting tons and tons of spin. Really going to ramp up our spin even if you're a beginner, and I got a great drill that's going to kind of help us cheat to do that. So if you're ready to start getting that ball to really curve to master the top spin slice, this is the video for you. Let's go ahead and get started. So a good friend of mine, Pete Freeman over at Crunch Time Coaching, has a great drill he calls Skip the Rock drill to really help you to get a lot of spin on that. So I'm gonna be teaching that drill today, and I'm even gonna ramp it up with even a little bit more spin as we get into the science of how the wrist is gonna work. Now we're gonna be cheating today because we're not gonna have to learn every finite detail of the stroke and the serve. I know for you beginners, it's really daunting, all the infinite details you can go into and really fine tuning that. We're not gonna worry about that today. Today, we're just gonna get tons and tons of spin on the ball, get a lot of side spin on the ball so that ball really will curve, and you'll start to be able to hit some really cool shots right away as soon as 10 or 15 minutes after doing this. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. Before we start that, we need to understand exactly what causes the ball to curve. How are we going to get the ball to curve right to left? So if we're hitting a flat serve, what's happening is our racket is coming into the ball. So imagine I'm hitting the ball right toward the camera. Our racket's coming into the ball, it's rotating, and the direction the racket is moving and the strings are basically pointing in the same direction. There's always going to be a little bit of spin. We're not going to get into that kind of detail today. But this racket is turning, and it's going to hit the ball directly toward the camera, and it's basically going to be, for all intents and purposes, a knuckle ball. So it's not going to have a lot of spin on it. For a slice serve, we want that ball, or we want that racket to be kicking up and out into this ball and kind of grazing against the side of the ball as it's hitting. So if we're looking at it from this direction, the racket is moving across the ball like this and glancing on the side. A good way I like to visualize this is imagine that these are little knives. Your strings are little knives, and they're gonna cut into the felt, and they're just gonna rip the felt right off the side of the ball. That's gonna get that ball spinning sideways, and it's gonna cause it to curve right to left. You're also gonna be going a little bit up on the ball as you're doing this, so it's not only gonna be curving right to left, it's gonna also be curving down in the court. So as I hit this ball, it's gonna curve right to left down in the court, and it's gonna kick off the side of the court, and hopefully into the side fence is really what you're going for. So that's the idea. Now let's go ahead and do this drill where we skip the rock. I'm gonna talk about how you use your wrist properly, and you can really just rip the cover off the ball. All right, so when we're doing the skip the rock drill, we're gonna visualize it first, just like we're on the edge of a pond. For those of you who skipped rocks, let's say we all have at some point in our life, and we're gonna be skipping a rock down the pond. Now it's gonna be really crucial to just go ahead and try to rip this shot. You may hit some off the frame, you may hit some terrible shots at first, but that is completely fine. All I'm trying to do is just absolutely get as much spin as I can. And at first here, this racket's gonna be sliding right underneath the ball, and it's gonna get tons and tons of backspin. So if I go ahead and hit a couple of them, you can see that ball has really got a lot of backspin. When it hit the ground, it like checked right up. And you can also, visualize that you're gonna get so much backspin on the ball that the ball is actually gonna start to oval up. It's not really gonna happen. It can happen a very, very small amount, but that's a good visualization to have for how hard of a cut you should be taking at that ball. Don't worry about where it goes. If it flies into the back fence, if it goes into the net, really doesn't make any difference. Now, as we get better at this, and I do, 5 or 10 of these, and I really get that ball to get tons and tons of backspin on there, all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start to gradually go higher and higher as I'm coming up until eventually I'm swinging up this way. So I'm gonna be going up and out into the ball. And you'll see as I do that, that backspin is gonna start to turn into side spin. So there's one that's going a little bit more up, a little bit more. Now you saw that one really started to curve. And as I go more and more, it's gonna start to curve more and more. So again, if I hit the side fence, the back fence, makes no difference to me. I'm just trying to get as much spin on there as I can, and I have no regard for control at this point. So I'm really gonna zing it, really gonna get that thing to spin. Now, one thing you wanna be doing with your wrist to maximize this even more is focus on the bottom 2 fingers in your hand. And that pinky finger, that bottom finger, should be right on the taper at the bottom of the racket. And I want to feel like that's my lever, and this racket's going to be lagging behind, and then bam, it's going to snap That's what I call the lag and snap as it's coming through there. And that's gonna add even more speed as I'm throwing this racket. So again, let me do a few more of these. I really get to spin, that's okay. Like I said, if you go into the net, if you go anywhere, completely fine from there. Practice at a good, 50, 60 reps and just see how much you can get. Hit them as hard as you can just to see what you can do. And then when we come back, we're gonna tone this down a little bit and start to get it into the court. All right, so we had a quick storm that popped up. Court's about dry again, so we'll pick up where we left off. We left off trying to get as much side spin as we could, really getting that ball to curve, and now we're gonna make that a little bit more consistent. So what you probably noticed, and what you've most likely heard before if you've listened to other slice serve instruction, is that if I toss the ball out to the right of my body, that I can really get that ball to curve a lot. I mean, it really starts to go from right to left, and that ball really moves when I toss the ball out there. But that's not what you really want to do. Even though you can get the most right to left curvature when you do that, it's very tough to be consistent when you're tossing the ball out to the right, because the ball is going to be coming in very level with the court. So it's moving this way instead of down into the court. That means I barely have to clear the tape of the net to get it to still land in the serve box. If I go a little too high over it, it's going to sail way long. I'm going to hit a lot of shots in the net. So that's why you won't see the pros actually doing that. What you'll see the pros doing is tossing the ball a little bit more over their head. So instead of going out here, like you'll hear a lot, and it looks really cool, you hit some cool shots doing that, they're going to toss it a little bit more over their head to where the ball is going to land just to the left of their front foot. So it's going to land about 1.5 feet in the court and 1.5 feet to the left of the front foot, which would be about right here if my left foot is here. This is my pivot foot, so as I'm coming up, that's when I'm going to be doing that. That's going to allow me to hit not only out on the ball, but to also be hitting up on the ball so it curves down into the court. So we'll try a couple of these. I'll toss them out to the right, and I'll gradually start to go more over my head, and you'll see how the curve is not going to be as much right to left, and it's going to start to go more down into the court. So that one was even a little too far over my head, and I went straight through it, and it curves straight down. So you got to find that sweet spot between how much it curves right to left and how much it curves down in the court, and that's what you're going to be very, very consistent with. So it's not all about just how much you can actually get the ball to curve. We got to get it to consistently go on the court. One last thing that's really helpful with that, if I'm driving through the ball a little bit more, it's not going to curve quite as much, but it's going to have a lot more speed on it. So when it hits into the court, it's really going to take off, and it's going to be tougher for my opponent to have time to get to the ball and to hit that return. So work on these shots, really get that spin to hit the heck out of them at first, get as much spin as you can, see if you can get that ball to curve 10, 12 feet if it's possible. Once you get comfortable with that, start to go more up and up and up until you find that nice 45-degree angle where the ball is coming down in the court and then kicking off. And you guys will love the slice serve. It's a great weapon to have in your toolbox. So good luck to you guys. I'll see y'all soon. Okay, so I know that some of you have done this drill. You're starting to get the ball to curve really well. You're starting to see the potential of this type of serve, but you're just not getting the racket head speed that you would like. You don't have the speed to really get that hard kicking shot that pulls it way off the court or to hit over 100 miles an hour. Well, I have a great bonus for you guys. I'm gonna play a preview from a video in the Power Serve series. And if you wanna watch that entire series, it's a 5-video series, absolutely free of charge. Just click the link that pops up on your screen or down below in the description. What that's going to do is it's a 5-video series. It's really going to walk you through how to get tons of racket head speed, and we can build on what we learned today. So as you ramp up your speed, you start hitting harder and harder. The ball's going to curve even more. It's going to kick even harder, and you're going to have a lot of trouble for your opponents. I know it's a lot of fun to really rip those hard hit serves, and I'm going to walk you guys through exactly how to do that in that series. So good luck, and I'll see you in the Power Serve series. Hi, I'm Clay Ballard with Top Speed Tennis. And today we're going to talk about how you can use the throwing motion to increase your serve speed. Okay, so in this video we're going to talk about using arm speed to increase your serve speed. So when we're making a serve, really what we're doing with the racket is we're doing a throwing motion up toward the ball. So in this video, there we go, hit one out of there. Okay, so practice that. Go ahead and get